What's up guys, Dameter122 and it's teaching day. Yeah, I promise, Ryan and I will get to the pendulum summoning video very soon. I promise. It's just that every single time I try to go do that video, something in the comments of one of my other videos comes up and it's like I just need to cover it. And today's video is really important because it's one of those little tiny things that a lot of the more casual players or newer players don't quite understand that really they need to get in order to get to a higher level of play, and that is cost. What is cost in Yu-Gi-Oh? Cost in Yu-Gi-Oh is basically any time you never need to give up some sort of personal sacrifice in order to activate an effect or a card. It's sometimes not the same thing, weirdly enough. This could be discarding a card, tributing a card, paying some life points, you name it. There's weird costs in this game. How can you tell what the cost of a card is? Well, the cost of a card normally appears before a semicolon in that card's card text. That card's card text. You'll see something like, discard one card, semicolon, blah 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 for the rest of the effect. That's exactly what the card will say. Ugh. Now that's assuming the card has problem-solving text, which not all cards do. A lot of older cards that haven't had a re-release in a very long time may not have problem-solving text because they were printed by Upper Deck or just Konami when they first got the rights back, so they didn't quite have the problem-solving text thing worked out quite yet. Basically, problem-solving text was Konami's way of streamlining and making a regimented way of how they print card text so that when rulings and judges had to come around and look at the cards, they could more at a glance look at it and say, oh, okay, this is what it's supposed to do. Basically, to make everything more uniform. If the card doesn't have problem-solving text, you might, instead of a semicolon, see the word to, like T-O, like discard one card to blah blah blah. It's basically the same thing, but the semicolon as punctuation is just a little more clear. I can see why they went to it. Why is this important? Well, this is important because sometimes when you're paying cost, it's not necessarily as apparent whether or not you can really do it. Sure, a life point cost or a discard cost are pretty obvious. Do you have the life points? Yes. You can do it. Do you have a hand? Yes, you can discard it. Nice. But there's other instances where this is a little less obvious. Something like, I don't know, Thunder King Raya, which says its cost is to tribute itself and send itself to the graveyard in order to negate the special summon of a monster. The trick there is it says tribute to send it to the graveyard. So if there's a card like, I don't know, Macrocosmos on board, you can't actually activate Thunder King Raya's negation effect because he can't properly send himself to the graveyard, therefore you cannot properly make cost. And this happens a lot. If you can't make the cost because of some sort of floodgating effect, you can't actually even activate the card. Which is also strange because on the flip side of that coin, if you have something like, I don't know, Skill Drain on board, your opponent can still activate things like Stardust Dragon because it sends itself from the field to the banish pile as its own cost. And because Skill Drain says it only negates effects while it's on the field, the card's never on the field anymore, so it can resolve and negate the destruction effect. Because Skill Drain doesn't say you can't activate cards, simply that their effects are negated. So you can see why this gets muddy. Rule of thumb, if it says it negates the effects, most of the time that means you can still pay the cost. Or on the flip side, if a card is preventing you from making the action that is that cost, like a card that says you cannot discard cards from your hand, means you can't activate costs that require that of a discard. So that's basically the easiest way of looking at it. Weird cases. I think the weird cases in this whole thing are probably what makes this the most important discussion I've had in a little while. And I think the star of this example will be Dark Worlds. Dark Worlds are notorious for one thing, and that's they get their effects off when they are discarded by card effect. Notice I said discarded by card effect, not by the cost to activate said card effect. I hope what the one thing that you get from this video is that those are two different things. One is the cost to activate an effect, but not the effect itself. The other is discarding by an effect. Ever wonder why the Dark World spells are so oddly worded where like the discard is the last thing on the card effect? That's because the effect of the card is to do the discarding. Its activation condition or cost is something else. Because Dark Worlds say in their card text, when discarded by the effect of a card. And again, discarding for cost is not an effect. It's the thing you need to do in order to get an effect. It matters because if you use something like Phoenix Wing Wind Blast or, I don't know, Divine Wrath, which have a discard cost that will not activate your Dark Worlds when they hit the graveyard because they are being discarded for cost, not for effect. And it's that distinction that I think that the Dark Worlds really do kind of hone in and really make very apparent, because a lot of times when you're doing your little rulings and things, when you're in the middle of a duel with your buddy, you have to actually sit down and look at these kind of things, because otherwise one of you is going to be inadvertently cheating. So anyway guys, that was cost. I hope it cleared up some things for you, or at least, you know, it was semi-entertaining to see out here. This is like the 8th time I recorded this video, because like, I couldn't get my thoughts straight. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and if you guys have any ruling questions about cards, feel free to put them in the thing. Ryan or I will get back to you in the comments section in order to kind of clear up what might be going on. And I just hope I can be right about things. Remember, guys, if you don't troll the better who will, I will see you guys next time.
Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my totally rad dueling. Watching more of these videos is almost as fine as Taya's ass? What? I'm not saying that. Fine. Then it's time to duel.